Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game between EG's Demuslim versus AAA's Nerchio here on Metalopolis. Demuslim spawning as the red Protoss player here at the 12 o'clock position. Meanwhile, down over here we have Nerchio. Nerchio spawning as the blue Zerg here. So this should be a pretty interesting game now as we see what's going to be happening. I do know, or happen to know that Demuslim actually changes his races every single time he plays this game or in this series. So this is going to be pretty interesting. I'm not going to tell you what you didn't ask. Right, a little bit of taunting between the two players this time around as Nerchio. I play versus. If you can use Imba too. Okay, so Nerchio is spawning as the blue Zerg. The conversation is pretty interesting. I'll try to avoid reading it and give you a cast on the game instead. So it is going to be EG versus or Demuslim versus Nerchio here on Metalopolis. And we'll see how this game does play out. Perhaps Demuslim has some special tricks just for Protoss. On this matchup, he will be going for a gateway here, most likely a cybernetics core here, and then having a zealot here. Nerchio saying that Protoss should be banned from tournaments. So apparently people are now saying that Protoss is the Imba race. Yeah, it's the flavor of the week to determine which race is the Imba race, and people are saying now Protoss is being the Imba race. And no matter what you think or how you think about that, at least you are enjoying these StarCraft 2 games. Drone now making its way out and trying to do some scouting. It looks like it will be scouting the cross map over here as a probe now making its way inside the base. And the probe taking a look around, sees the spawning pool. He needs to check for the extractor, and now coming over sees that there is little balls of gas currently being harvested, and knows that it is most likely going to be metabolic boosted lings sometime quickly, as Zerglings will also be trained up in addition to a queen, making it so that this one probe will not be able to put that much harassment down, as that probe just wandering back and forth, patrolling in this location here, and just dancing back and forth. A drone able to sneak by. A zealot will be trained up as well, as the drone taking a look on the inside of the space. Is he going to grow up to be a hatchery? Oh, grows up to be a hatchery, denying the assimilator, and we'll see if that actually puts a wrench into the Demuslim strategy. One of the reasons why Zerg players really want to get that extractor down is to delay the amount of sentries that are able to be trained during the early portion of the game. Normally, the sentries are trained up rather quickly. You do, in fact, need, I believe it is 2 assimilators down in order to train up 2 sentries a minute. So by doing this, you do delay the sentries, and then a Protoss without sentries means that they're not going to be able to split apart the army nearly as easily. Metabolic boost is now currently being researched as the Zerglings now making their way out, chasing after the probe. The probe taking a little bit of damage there as the zealot about to take down this extractor. There is one stalker holding position right there, so he will be able to hold off against these Zerglings. Zerglings trying to catch up to the probe. The probe already down to 7 hit points. It looks like it may get taken down, but the Stalker is going to be able to get some damage up from that high ground. Will it be able to take down the probe? No. That probe able to escape at 5 hit points and 2 shields. One poor Zergling not realizing that there is a Stalker, in fact, on the high ground. The Vespian Geyser has been cleared, but interestingly enough, no assimilator. So the Demuslim may be trying to go for more zealots and trying to go for a heavier gateway play. With 3 additional gateways, he will not be able to have nearly as many stalkers or sentries, so his army will majorly consist of, I believe, just zealots, and that is going to be a problem as we now see a Roach Warren coming into play as well. So there is 1 Spine Crawler currently being trained. Nerchio also getting a second queen. No, only 1 queen between the 2 bases, as we are now going into the Roach Warren, so he will only be able to get around 14 larvae a minute. But that should be just enough for him if he's trying to train up more and more roaches. He does not have a strong enough economy to really be training up 20 roaches every minute anyways. Zerglings is now making their way out across the field. You can see an expansion is being placed down by Demuslim. Demuslim able to easily take care of that there. And now the probe perhaps going to set down a forge down here on the low ground, making it very difficult for Zerglings to be able to run up this ramp. Now, with more drones still being trained and a second queen now finally being added, we may get a strong roach push in just a moment. We are teching the tier 2, which means that we can get the Glio reconstitution a little bit later. Hatchery does take a little bit of time to upgrade to tier 2, as the Zergling is now hiding off on the far side there. One Zealot standing in between the Nexus and the pylon, as another pylon being placed down. So sentries, zealots, and stalkers, 2 pylons now being warped in, as well as the Muslim chrono boosting the level 1 weapons upgrade. We are also getting the evolution chamber as well, to make sure, just in case there is some Void Ray play, that Nerchio will be able to get some Spore Crawlers, or if there are going to be any Dark Templars, that he has Spore Crawlers for detection as well. Zergling's taking a look around, pretty much sees out what it needs to see, and now is going to back off. This Overlord may try to do a suicide run straight into the base. He's only going to see a lot of gateways, which he already knows already are in position, but he will not be able to see much of anything else, as there's not much else to spot. But he would rather be able to find another tech building to know what the Muslim's trying to go for. Stalkers now making their way over will be able to shut down this Overlord rather easily. 2 Stalkers and 1 Sentry. The Overlord just trying to fly by, get as much information as possible before it gets destroyed. There it goes. A 3rd hatchery being placed down around the 8-minute mark, so pretty standard play there as a 3rd base, as the Zerg is now trying to run in and trying to get some damage onto some probes. Unable to do so. Sentries getting down 2 quick force fields, as the Zerg is now trying to run up the ramp. Another force field now down, unable to escape. 20 seconds, a long time for a force field to stay up and running there, as more zealots and units are just holding off in this position. Nicely done, as the roaches will not be coming out anytime soon. The Muslim perhaps going to be going into 6-gate play, and that is it, and then trying to put down a lot of pressure. You can see spine crawlers are being added to the front as well. Overlords are trying to back off, and now we should also be seeing a probe trying to make its way out and setting up some proxy pylons. The Zerglings do have control of the center portion of the map. They will be able to macro up rather easily, as long as Nerchio does not overtrain on drones. If he overtrains on drones and he doesn't have if he doesn't have enough larva or enough food cap to really deal with this very large army now making a move out, Nerchio does see the Stalkers and the very large army moving out. You can see 9 Roaches currently being trained. More defense really needs to be added. They're going to have a very difficult time. The Roaches do have that movement speed upgrade, so they will be able to get concave rather quickly. As the probes now making their way out, the roaches over here are going to be in a bit of a danger zone. If they try to engage, it looks like the roaches may try to battle it out. It doesn't look like it, as the probe perhaps going to set up another proxy pylon here on the high ground. Army, we see 1450 compared to 2625. Much stronger gas by the Muslim as well, so he's going to be able to do a 6-gate push in just a moment and reinforce rather quickly. The roaches are now coming in from behind. There's the force fields, trapping many of those roaches, and now that is going to be a problem. More roaches coming in from the back over here. Roaches now perhaps going to be able to take down the proxy pylon, and that is going to be huge. With 1 pylon down, no reinforcements will be coming in at all. Down it goes, as the roaches are now trying to back off. You can see another pylon trying to warp in here, as there are some spine crawlers there, so now trying to get into proper positioning. More units are now trying to warp in as well. Stalkers are not going to be able to get that much damage. Only one roach lost in that force field battle there, as the Nerchio now trying to pull back, able to do so, and the spine crawlers with a very decent range are trying to battle it out. No transfusions that I've seen at all, as the roaches are now trying to push through both sides, dealing a lot of damage, and those sentries have to be out of energy sometime soon. So many force fields have been laid down. Nerchio battling it out, that spine crawler getting in a lot of damage so far, but not that many kills, and still 10 more roaches should be coming out in just a moment. No burrow research. If he actually tried to play whack-a-mole, he would be able to deal a lot of damage pretty easily, as the roaches are still moving around back and forth, engaging. The queen already down low on hit points there. Down it goes, as the stalkers are continuing to push in. Roaches now doing a nice counter push back. Drones coming off the mineral line, as the roaches continue to push their way forward, going after those very, very low hit point sentries. Drones are now going to be able to absorb some of that damage, as well as the roaches continuing to push. Roaches catching many of those stalkers off guard, and Nerchio getting damage, getting a lot of damage onto those units. Both sides very low on hit points. These queens off of the creep, but I believe Nerchio will be able to finish off all of these stalkers here, as a new wave of reinforcements are now coming in. The zealots are going to get kited, and the Muslim says GG. So Nerchio beating the overpowered Protoss, apparently, according to Nerchio anyways, here on Metalopolis. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Stay tuned for Game 2 in this series between EG's the Muslim and Nerchio.